Hi, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Liv.
And this is the Mach-E vlog. Today we are in a 2023 California Route 1 Mach-E. We've had it for a few days and we're going to do like an overview review of the California Route 1 and sort of compare it to our GT as well as other Mach-E models.
So let's go. You may know, maybe you don't, but this channel started with our first edition Mach-E, which is basically a premium. We then upgraded to a GT Performance Edition. Upgrade, maybe for some, maybe for others, no. And now we're getting to spend some time in a California Route 1. We've had a bunch of experience now in 3 different models, and we want to share all about this one with you because they're very similar, very much the same, and very different in other ways too.
Of course, there are some differences between the different models that we want to point out and highlight, starting with the exterior. So we're going to do a flashback right now and show you like some of the outside differences and other stuff.
The biggest thing about this has nothing to do with it being in California Route 1, but the fact that this is Vapor Blue, I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite colors. What do you guys think of this? I think it is so cool. In some occasions it looks gray, in other occasions it looks super blue. I think it's pretty blue right now. It's sort of like how the space white can change color, but it looks really fantastic. We have a black trim over here, and of course, not like our GT Performance Edition, we don't have a big black lip or anything. So it's just a lot of blue here, no black front or anything, a lot of Vapor Blue. I love it a lot. We have black wheel arches, black mirrors, black trim on the bottom, all beautifully accentuating this color, and it looks really opalescent over here. Patrick's gonna talk to you a little bit about the wheels and everything, but let's take a little walk around here. And one of the main differences, of course, California Route 1, our GT says GT in the back, so it's so nice to have a pony in the back again, because I just think that's a really fun thing to show off when you're in traffic and you know the people are looking at your pony. So, I don't know. But the California Route 1 badge over here is something special, and actually it feels really nice. I don't know what you think of that, but I kind of like it. All right, Patrick, what do you have to say?
Okay, as Liv pointed out, it does have the California Route 1 badge, but there are some other differences, and let's go over some of those now. First of all, push the button. This doesn't automatically lift up. It's a manual lift tailgate or lift gate, or however you want to call it. In the premium and GTs, that's, of course, will raise up on its own and close on its own. This one is manual, not that big of a deal. Otherwise, inside we have the same amount of space. We have our stuff back here. The floor can rise up and you can put it up on these little shelves here. I know it's hard to see there, but if you want a flat floor, when you fold the seats down, underneath we have no spare tire, by the way, but we do have an air inflator kit with some puncture sealant stuff that's included as well. And then they also, in this one, they have our mobile charger that comes with the Mach-E. I like keeping mine up in the front because if I have suitcases and stuff back here, I don't want to have to dig it out. So I keep it up in the front. Anyways, let's close this up and we'll go around and talk about some more differences. Of course, one of the biggest differences with the California Route 1 are the wheels. These are 18-inch wheels, and that's actually like a aero cover over a metal wheel. The 18-inch smaller size with the aero caps, that's one of the biggest reasons of the difference in range. So like a premium all-wheel drive extended range will get you about 290 miles of range. This is 312 miles, and it really comes down to these wheels. And the wheel arches are a gloss black. So in the GT, it matches the color of the car. In the Selects, it's like a more of a matte finish. Same thing with the trim down here. It's a gloss finish as well. Otherwise, it's the same, you know, as other models of the Mach-E. To open up the car, let's see, we'll do the front one. Push the button and it opens up. There's a little thing here that's really cool. This has been shown a lot, but on the first videos when the Mach-E came out, but we'll talk about it here. That basically is like a little kickstand that pushes the door out. So I'll show you again. If I push it, the car pushes the door out a little bit and then it locks it so that I can't like smash my finger in there as I'm grabbing it. But I grab this little handle, that little kickstand disappears, and I can open it up. Inside, there are a few differences. On the California Route 1, it does not have the B&O sound system. Still sounds pretty good. It's like missing the speaker in the center of the dash. I don't think it has the subwoofer, but overall, I think the stereo sounds fairly decent. It doesn't have like the slightly upgraded seats that you would say that the premium has. This is a vegan leather, or fake leather, however you want to say it. And manual controls on the passenger side. On the driver's side, it is electronic controls. Otherwise, in here, it feels very similar. Materials feel very nice. They are not necessarily the same as in the premium or the GT, but it still feels and looks really great on the inside. So whatever one you get of the trim levels, they're all great. The California Route 1 doesn't have a metal plate here for the Mustang label. It's actually plastic. Another slight difference there. And then there's some more differences up front, so let's take a look at those. Again, it looks like very similar. I'm gonna get on this side, so maybe I don't get as much as the wind sound. But even though this is black, just like it is on the premium, it's more like a grill looking thing with like these fins. On the premium, it's like just a gloss black item there. The other difference is that the lights are different. Instead of LED projector lights, these are LED reflective lights. They seem fairly similar, but the IIHS, which is the Insurance Highway Safety something, I forget what it is, but they rate these as not as effective as the ones on the premium or on the G2, but I bet they're cheaper to replace. So, you know, maybe win, lose there. But that's basically like the biggest differences with the California Route 1 and the appearance part of it. It does have a glass roof, which on the Select and the GT is an option. Comes standard on the premium as well. So that's a similarity with the premium, is that you actually do get the glass roof. Liv mentioned like you have the black mirrors. Depending on what model car you get, like on the first editions, the mirrors were the same color as the car, but black looks really nice. And just like with other Mach-E models, it has the Mach-E name down here. They all say Mach-E, and then if it's a all-wheel drive, it'll say 4. If it's an extended range, it has X. So this is all-wheel drive and extended range, so it has a 4X. All California Route 1s are all-wheel drive and extended range. So that's basically all of the visual difference on the outside.
When it comes to driving it, one important thing to point out about this exact model is the fact that Patrick is not touching the steering wheel. What are you doing? Oh my gosh.
We're using BlueCruise 1.2, which is the next version of BlueCruise on 2023 Mustang Mach-E's, and we'll be going, being rolled out to 2022 and 2021 Mach-E's supposedly later this year. Of course, you have to have the BlueCruise option. The California Route 1 comes with BlueCruise, so that's one of the things we're testing out. So we'll cover some of that as well in this part.
On top of BlueCruise, if you can see the icon, it's actually moving over to the left a little bit because there is a truck in our right lane. So that's another update with BlueCruise 1.2 is, what do we call it? Scooching.
They call it in-lane repositioning. It's a minor change, but it's actually really huge in the comfort of using BlueCruise, because one of the things that can make you nervous is like you may be dead centered in a lane, but if a truck is sort of approaching sort of into your lane or right on the edge, it can feel uncomfortable. So that minor change is a big improvement to BlueCruise, and it's part of BlueCruise 1.2. BlueCruise 1.2 also adds auto lane changes, which I can show you one now. I just tap the blinker, it says preparing lane change, and it's already in the new lane. And then that's it. And then the other thing is that it will do some predictive speed adjustment based on curves or speed limit signs. So if it sees like a curve or a like 55 mile per hour zone, it will slow down ahead of time versus waiting until it's technically too late. And the same thing with a curve, it'll like see that you should slow down for a curve and can adjust the speed. So we have a video dedicated just to BlueCruise 1.2. We also have our first drive in BlueCruise 1.2. So if you haven't, check those out. We'll put links in the description and hopefully above as well, above our head somewhere. And definitely check those out. It definitely deserves its own video.
But BlueCruise is an interesting thing because this is going to be available to you on pretty much every Mach-E model. It's always disconcerting when he does that and it starts moving without his hands.
It's available like on the select. You have to select the BlueCruise package. It's not called BlueCruise. There's a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, you can get it pretty much on any Mach-E model. And it's not on all GTs either. You have to get the package.
So that's not exclusive to a California Route 1. It's something that is a massive upgrade to your vehicle, which is really exciting, but something that is pretty exclusive to the California Route 1 and which is really pertinent right now is the range.
Yeah, compared to our GT, which is one of the lower range all-wheel drive models, which gets 260 miles. This is an all-wheel drive extended range. It actually has more miles than the premium. The premium all-wheel drive extended range gets 290 miles. This gets 312. That's pretty much all down to the wheels. They are smaller wheels, lighter weight, have aero covers, and that's really the only difference that helps with the range. And that means it gets that extra boost of 312 miles. We started this trip right outside our neighborhood. We've gone 14.3 miles, and right now we're averaging 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which is fantastic for a Mach-E. We've done this route in our GT a few times now, and we're into 2 point something at about this point. So definitely a huge improvement in the efficiency from the GT to the California Route 1, but even from the premium. So there are some things that you lose out when you don't get the premium, but you do get the extra range. And
we've pretty much mostly been in the 2s in our GT Performance Edition. So it's really fun to see 3s and mid 3s, high 3s the whole time. I don't know if it's really changing our driving style that much, but I feel confident. Like there's something about it that just feels really cool to know that we have 312 miles of range.
Yeah.
I mean, what battery percentage? We're pretty low right now.
We're at 26% battery. Normally, I probably wouldn't make this run to LA without having more range than that. There are some like shorter, like closer charging stations that I know I could use even in the GT, but we're actually going to a doctor's appointment in Santa Ana, and it says that we'll have like 26 miles of extra range, which means like if we were in the GT, we'd be cutting it a lot closer, leaving with that battery percentage, and I probably wouldn't do it, or I'd probably stop on the way. But we're going to drive up there, go to the doctor's. We'll have, it says 10% battery left, I believe, when we get there. So it gives me a little bit more confidence, and it isn't a, on the grand scheme of things, it doesn't look like a huge difference, but when you're out driving, all of a sudden your mind starts feeling more at ease with like a 26% battery percentage showing up.
Yeah, someone commented on one of our other videos that we were at like 60%, and no, it was 80%, and the battery, the amount of range that we had was basically the full battery of our GT.
Yeah.
Which obviously we didn't notice at the time, but it's pretty astounding.
Oh, I noticed. I just didn't
Did
comment.
you?
Yeah, it is sort of, because a lot of times I'll just look at the battery percentage because I know that in my mind more than what the range estimate is, because that can fluctuate. And I remember glancing down, and I think we were at like 60% battery, and that was the equivalent of like our 85% charge that we normally do on our GT. So
that's right.
It's actually a pretty nice thing to see that many miles up there. And like, we're at 26% battery with 64 miles of range. So if you basically multiply that by 4, we're getting up there pretty good. And of course, right now we're doing highway driving, so it's probably being very conservative on the range estimate. I bet we do pretty well on this stretch overall. We're still at 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour. That should go down a little bit. We're doing 65, which is the speed limit through here.
That truck is really wobbly.
Yeah, it definitely scooted us over.
Yeah.
So it really is
Scoochy.
like I said, we have a whole video on BlueCruise 1.2, but that, like, normally with BlueCruise 1, we would be dead center, and
it's dodgy.
It would make me a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
But the fact that I knew the car was going to move over,
and you very, very physically, literally see the car moving in the little icon on the screen.
It actually shows in the display here. If you want to go back and look at that segment again, you'll see that the little icon here moved over to the left. And then you'll also notice that there's 2 little arrows, and that's indicating that I can go left or right. Now, right through there, just a BlueCruise note, the speed limit dropped to 55 for trucks. And I got to double check and make sure that's not for everybody, but everybody goes 65, 70 through here. So I'm exceeding the speed limit, allegedly, but that's why. And there are little quirks like that with, sometimes it gets the speed limit sign incorrect, but just something to be aware of.
But speaking of that, this is a route that we've done a couple times now already in our BlueCruise video and everything. You guys might be bored of that. So why don't we touch base when we're a little further down, closer to LA, some less familiar roads, and see how that is. Yee. Where?
It's coming up. I'm going to see if they'll come past us, but I just did a lane change because we have a Mach-E coming up that you'll see in the screen in a second.
Yay!
She's not noticing us.
How is she not noticing us? And that beautiful grabber blue.
On the car just slowed down. It saw, for some reason, a 55.
She was using her hands, wasn't she?
But that's a pretty grabber blue, like
Isn't it?
our GT that we affectionately call Lucifer Tucifer. But
I wonder what the name of her car is.
Yeah.
Not a Maserati.
Anyways, we get excited every time we see a Mach-E. And I didn't even look to see what, I think it was a premium.
I don't know. I just saw that. Were they Texas plates?
I didn't
trying to
even
see where they
no,
were
it
from.
had the carpool sticker. So in California,
Oh, right.
you can get a carpool sticker, which
We need to get.
no, we're not going to get.
They're weird colors.
They're weird color, and most of the time we're together, so we can carpool
Yeah.
anyways. But it allows you to carpool in like a Mach-E, even if you're solo. I don't know all the details because I don't want to put a sticker on the car. All right. Anyways,
But now we're somewhere different
Yeah.
than you may have seen in our other videos in this vehicle. And how long into the drive are we? It's not actually that long.
it's still
An
not
hour.
far. We're still only
We're
24
30
miles.
minutes.
It's only like 54 miles where we're going today, but so far, we've been driving this around for about 5 days now. It feels fairly comfortable. Again, this is very comparable to a premium, different wheels, but the suspension has been tweaked a little bit, I believe. We spoke to an engineer a few months ago, and he said that after the GT came out, there have been some tweaks to the suspension of the non-GTs. Minor, very minor, but a little bit less bouncy, but like little things like that. Our GT Performance Edition has MagneRide, and I believe it handles that a little bit better, smoother. But this is still a really good ride. The seats are fairly comfortable. It's still a vegan interior, so even though these look like leather seats, they're not.
And I'm like, I get so used to MagneRide, but I'm often filming, so I'm gonna pretend that I'm filming.
Yeah.
Like, how does this? Like, I mean, okay, MagneRide is amazing, but this really doesn't feel bad.
Yeah, I think
all.
Coming from a GT, one of the things that is surprising, even though we had a first edition, which is like a premium, is, I sort of get that like, oh, we're in the GT, this is top of the line. But then when we hop back into whether it's a Select or a Route 1 or a premium, I'm like, they're all really nice vehicles. They feel very, very comfortable. In fact, the other day, Liv needed to grab something out of the glove box of our car, but we were in this car, and she opened up the glove box and goes, oh, wait, wrong car. Because it feels very familiar. They all feel very nice inside. They, even, on the Select, the materials inside are a fairly decent level of quality on all the Mach-E levels that you can get. Thanks for cutting me off, dude.
Wow, yeah. But the car handled that.
The car,
well. Yeah.
Again, people wanted us to try out BlueCruise like in LA. Well, we're in the southern part of the LA metro, and it's handling people cutting us off and whatever.
And that person was a very close lane changer.
This guy is really far over. Yeah.
I know,
and then the car goes and says like, oh, you're too close. So. But yeah, comfort wise, it feels very nice. Some little things that most people don't note in their reviews, the heating and cooling system in the Mach-E, we found it now, we don't live in Denver anymore, but we have lived in some relatively cold environments. We found the heat is excellent, gets hot really quick, and the air conditioning is fantastic.
Yeah, and even like it was very foggy here the other day and rainy, and you use the defogger.
Max defrost.
Yeah, instantly. It was like maybe 5 seconds or something.
Yep.
Instantly defrosted, which I really appreciate. Granted, I come from an older vehicle, but that waiting until you can start moving before you can actually see out of your windshield, to me, that's kind of a nice thing. Polestar. Looking good.
Yeah, so it's something that I think a lot of reviewers, they only get the car for a short amount of time. We've only had this one for a short amount of time, but in all the Mach-E's that we've, been in, one of the things that I think is great, and Ford, I think in general, does very good HVAC systems as they're called, but the heat and the cooling for the cabin is excellent. I have heard some people up in Canada where it's like literally like negative 30 degrees have said the heat is not great. But then other people have said, no, it's completely fine. So maybe there's some issues with their Mach-E.
But
that was a little bit of a wobble on that curve. You could
feel it readjusting the curve. We're going to shoot some BlueCruise footage on our return trip on some of these roads. So if you're interested, check out that video and we'll have some of this more in detail.
And it keeps grabbing like a 55 mile per hour sign, and I don't know where it's getting that. So I'm going to, it says watch the road.
Good.
But I'm going to turn off predictive speed assist. And then it just told me to keep my hands on the steering wheel, which I've done. And that's basically because this big curve, it's wants sort of some reassurance that I'm ready to take control, because it can handle it. It's still handling the steering, but it just doesn't want me to have like a drink in my hands or something like that. It's just sort of like, hey, this is a bigger curve, but it's already activated back to BlueCruise again, or hands-free again. So anyways, this is a very comfortable ride, even though it's not the premium, it's not the GT. Great ride. The seats are fairly comfortable. Good grief, people.
This is so LA.
One of the things that Liv found out was the driver or the passenger seat is manual.
Yeah.
Which is...
is there a way... Is that literally a Route 1 thing?
I believe... Yeah, I don't think there's any package that you can get to change that.
It's weird. I will be totally honest, it makes it feel a little bit less premium.
And the Select, I believe, is also manual on that side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the the seat controls in the Mach-E are great, except for lacking a tilt function. They're really nice, so it feels really odd using manual adjustments, but then again, once you've done it once, you're probably fine, and that's what you want it at. So this makes me think, who is the California Route 1 for? Now, previously, it only used to be available in front-wheel drive.
Rear-wheel drive.
Rear-wheel drive.
There's no front-wheel drive Mach-E.
It only used to be available in rear-wheel drive. So you used to be able to say California Route 1. Of course, this is the vehicle for people in California or places that it doesn't snow. Now it's available in all-wheel drive. So really, who is the California Route 1 for? And I honestly feel like it's for people who want the most bang for their buck, because you're getting all-wheel drive, you're getting the most range, you're getting BlueCruise 1.2, over-the-air updates, you're getting a vehicle that's going to keep getting better, right? We've got the glass roof, we've got relatively comfortable seats. I do think the GT Performance Edition, now that I'm used to them, more comfortable, but this really is a debatable thing. These seats are pretty comfortable to me. But if you want the most bang for your buck, is there a trim that's better than this?
Well, it depends on what you need, because like my brother bought a rear-wheel drive Select, which gets you just under 250 miles of range, but it's significantly less expensive than this. He got the BlueCruise package on that. So it's sort of like that's sort of the great thing about having these options. The California Route 1 is just, if you want all-wheel drive and a lot of range, this is the one that's going to get you the most range. Another difference was the manual rear lift gate. I just got the low battery, low driving range. And you can set that. I have it set to, by default, it's set to 50 miles. It'll let you know that there's low range. But we had a 26-mile buffer when we started out. Now we're up to a 28-mile buffer when we get to our destination. So,
which is amazing on the highway.
Efficiency is still good. We've been doing 65 to 70, and we're still at 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour. So
we're 3.5.
Going back to who wants the California Route 1, if you're looking for efficiency and range, this is such a great option.
Yeah, and for sure, if you value performance and smooth suspension more than anything, then the GT Performance Edition would obviously be the most bang for your buck. It's just more buck. So this is the most range for your buck.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did a video on our first edition versus the GT Performance Edition, why we did the switch, why you don't need a GT, basically. And all of that is true. If you want to watch that video, wow, our turn is coming up already. Felt really quick and comfortable. So if you want to watch that video, please do.
No, it's just, there's an exit that's saying, don't take that exit, stay left.
Turn ahead, keep left. Okay. So a big point that I had in that video was that this feels like the same car. Like Patrick said, I reached for the glove box as though we were in Lucifer Tucifer, because everything about it is the same. Yeah, we have this really cool finish. We have the vegan leather. The seat is different, but it feels the same. It still feels like you're in a super sweet Mustang. You still see the curvy schnoz in front of you. It looks awesome. It's really the same. So you're not getting a worse vehicle regardless of which model you get or a trim. It's an awesome vehicle. How's BlueCruise handling this weirdness?
It just canceled. I had to, and that's, so BlueCruise is in hands-free mode, but I could tell it got confused there because the lines disappeared.
I got confused there.
And I could tell it was not going to handle that well. And it went to the hands-on version, but I was basically steering it because I didn't like what it was doing. So great system. Other people like Kyle Connor have tested many systems, and BlueCruise is one of his top. He said it's actually right now his favorite system, even over autopilot for taking trips like this. But you still have to pay attention, still need to be ready, and even if it's not telling you something is going on, you need to take control, you need to be ready to take control when something like that comes up. But if you want, go back and look and see. I didn't actually say it at the time, but you could see the lanes were a little bit crazy and disappearing.
Yeah, and we actually know this route. I mean, as in we've come to LA a couple times now, not much, but I think it's really interesting for those routes that you're familiar with and you know the bad areas, right? So you can use BlueCruise to help you through the good spots, and then, you know, just get ready to take more control in those spots that you know are coming. It's a bit challenging when you don't know what's coming, I think.
Yeah, and this is actually pretty nice using it in a case like this. Oh, I thought it was coming up. Yeah, we're going to hit some traffic, and we'll see how it's going to handle basically traffic, stop and go, maybe slow and go. But it, of course, is doing the adaptive cruise control. Again, check out our BlueCruise video. We'll go in depth on testing in this type of situation. It's telling me
rainy weather.
Like, I can't do lane changes right now. It shows the arrows, but they're like dashed, which is basically telling me it would have to wait to be able to do a lane change. It'll slow all the way to a stop, and you can press resume to get going again, back up to your set limit. So it'll handle, and actually with short stops, it'll just resume automatically. So it'll handle all this stuff fairly well. A couple of weeks ago in our car, we hit like heavy traffic going up to LA. It was like literally like 30 minutes to stop and go. And I kept it on BlueCruise the entire time. So it can handle this stuff. May not be, to everybody's liking. Sometimes it leaves a little bit too big of a gap like this, and people don't like that. But if you just want to let it do its thing, it's going to do a good job with it. Sometimes it's a little bit touchy on the brakes. Like it tapped the brakes a little bit hard there, but nothing significant.
Yeah, not too bad. Well, traffic is pretty boring. We don't have to subject you guys to that. So let's get out of here. Well, that is our time with the California Route 1. We've had it for close to a week. And I have to say, personally, I'm bummed to let it go. And that's largely because of the range. We've actually gotten to use this quite a bit. Unexpectedly had to do a trip up to LA and back. And there's just something a little special about having, well, it's like 60 more miles of range, basically, compared to what we've been getting.
What is it, like 52 miles more range?
Yeah. That's actually quite a lot. And I mean, 250 miles, whatever, that's a fine amount of range to have. It's not a big deal, but it's really easy to get used to having a lot of range or just seeing that range. So it's fine. It's fine going back to Lucifer. You're fine with a vehicle with mid 200s range, but I've certainly gotten used to looking at that and being like, we're fine.
And to me, it was also a good reminder because like we had it, first edition, which is like a premium upgraded to the GT. This was a good reminder that, the Mach-E just in general is a very nice vehicle, as well as peppy and fun to drive. The driving on 2-lane roads and a freeway still feels really good. I could feel the performance difference coming from the GT, but it wasn't like disappointing or anything. It was still like really nice to drive and to zip around in traffic. Very comfortable on our trip up to LA. It wasn't a 1,000-mile road trip, but it was like, 60 miles there and each way. But yeah, it's just a good reminder that it's a very nice car no matter what. And having the extra range is like, I've been saying like 260 versus 300 doesn't really make that much of a difference. This is 260 versus 312. It felt like a bigger difference than I expected. So if you're looking for range, this is an excellent option. And you get pretty much everything if you can deal with a little bit of like the manual passenger seat and the manual rear hatch.
Yeah, and I really love this color. Let's show it off a little bit. It really is pretty. And so what you said about the range, the 60 miles there and back to LA, a big thing about that also is that we weren't expecting to do it. I had sort of a doctor thing I had to run for my leg, and we weren't charged. So that was really good. Like we weren't prepared, we weren't charged. We still don't have a level 2 charger at home. And we weren't prepared to do a big trip to LA all of a sudden. So it was sort of like non-emergency. But we had enough range to not worry. So that's nice. That's really nice. So especially if you don't have charging at home, level 2 charging, this could be an extra good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you have to rely on outside charging, this will give you longer gaps in between that. But yeah, that's the biggest takeaway. I really do love the Vapor Blue. It's an excellent color. I like all the colors on the Mach-E, so I think they've done a really good job. I'm really, stoked that we got to have the Vapor Blue, and it was fun putting the Vapor Blue next to Grabber Blue. Grabber Blue is definitely grabber. And
grabs your attention.
This is really neat. And I'm, on the cloudy days, it's actually really dusty and dirty right now. We've had some big storms, but overall, I'm pleased. Let us know what you guys think. If you're considering a Mach-E, if you have any questions, drop them below. We'll try to answer any more detailed questions. But which Mach-E model are you considering? Which one did you choose? And which one is do you think is the best bang for your buck? All of those, share your feedback with us, because we like all of them and we want to hear from you as well.
And which color, because that's very important.
Oh yeah, what's your favorite Mach-E color? And if you ordered before you could get Vapor Blue, are you disappointed you didn't get Vapor Blue?
I'm not, but I am, but I'm not. I think it would have made the decision hard. No, I'm glad we would have done Grabber Blue.
I think we needed Grabber Blue.
Yeah.
Because it's so cool. And I love the fact that Grabber Blue dates back to the 1969 Mustang, and it's only ever been used on a Mustang. So anyways, side note.
That is extra special. What's the history of Vapor Blue?
I think this is the first time they've used it, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's kind of special too. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us for this video where we went in depth with the California Route 1, got to know it better. Let us know your thoughts down below. A huge thank you to our patrons whose names are scrolling across the screen right now. If it wasn't for you guys, we would not have been lent this vehicle. It's such an amazing opportunity that Ford gave us this vehicle for a week to test out. We tried to put it through its paces as much as we could. We have a ton of videos on BlueCruise 1.2, which was basically why we got this vehicle. But there's a really nice car color driving by and I'm distracted. And so that means it's time to go. So just remember that whatever you drive, whether it's Vapor Blue, whether it has BlueCruise, whether it's a California Route 1 or a flashy green car driving by, enjoy the ride.
Bye.
Bye.